Hey guys, what's up? Today we're going to talk about how to actually make Discord slash commands. It's kind of a new feature and it allows you to actually register commands natively through Discord instead of your bot using like a prefix like exclamation point. So you'll see later, but basically for every command you have registered, if you do slash, it'll show you the commands you have, and you can actually have some templated stuff. So say you want to like make a promote command, so slash promote and then a user to promote. This is all going to be built in Discord and Discord.js, and it's going to be validated by Discord, so you can actually have a greater level of constraint on the inputs that your bot gets. And it's a very handy way to actually build commands now, because the users actually get feedback before they send the command that it requires this parameter, or these are the allowed values, or something like that. So I'm gonna make this scaffold and make a few commands, and I'm going to provide this repository for you guys as a basis for you to start off of. I know it's really hard for beginners to actually get going. Sometimes they get stuck on like small things, or like maybe that's their first time using Node.js, and so they just miss something important. So I'm going to provide you guys with a scaffold so you can just go ahead and get rolling. Okay, so the first thing we do when we start a project is that we always will npm init. So npm init is actually going to init the Node.js program, and it creates a package.json file which holds all your dependencies and all your scripts to actually run it. So we're going to keep the package name. We're going to say the description is a Discord.js / interaction command bot scaffold. The entry port is actually going to be source / index.js. Repository is fine, and I am the author. The rest of this is fine. Okay, now you can see here we have a package.json actually generated, and I'll make this a little bigger. Inside of this package.json, we have basic scripts to actually run and start the program. So the first thing we're going to need to do is actually install our dependencies. So obviously this is a Discord.js bot, so you're going to actually type npm I discord.js. You're going to see it's actually install the package. This means that we now have the Discord.js package, so we have all of this native code to actually run the bot. So the next thing that I usually do is I would actually install a linter. So this is definitely optional, but a linter is going to lint your code. And what that means is you're going to have a style guide applied to all of your code. So you can't have one method that uses single quotes and one that uses double quotes, stuff like that. And you can change these rules, and I'll show you guys how to do that. But basically, we're going to install a linter. So we're going to npm I. Now this is important. We're going to save dev ESLint. Saving dev means that the dependency is only going to be there when you're running it in dev. You don't actually want ESLint in production. So after npm i's ESLint, and the save dev part is very important because you don't want ESLint in production, right? You don't care in production if your code lints. You just want it to run in production. So by running save dev, we're only going to get this dependency when we actually download the dev dependencies. So now that we have ESLint installed, let's go ahead and make the lint file. So we're going to make a file called eslintrc.json. And what this is the file that says, these are my linting rules for this entire repository. So I'm going to copy and paste in some lint rules. And to show you guys the basics here, we have some environment rules, like are we going to use ES6? So it's ECMAScript 6. It has a lot of new stuff like import syntax, all kinds of stuff. Which ECMA version are we going to use in the rules. So you can see we have stuff here like, do we want comma dangles? Do we want comma spacing? And you can see all of these rules inside of ESLint. So if we were to ESLint docs, if you go to the ESLint docs over here, you'll be able to see all of these rules, and you can search through them. So here's a bunch of things about disabling and enabling rules. This is just an example. You can remove and keep whatever linting rules you want. So that after we have all this stuff set up, we actually need to create the bot within Discord. So we're gonna go to the Discord developer portal. We're gonna go to discord.com/developer/applications. We're gonna create a new bot, and we're gonna call this /command bot. Now inside of here, we want to actually create a bot. So we click on the bot tab over here. We do add bot. Now we have a new bot, and it's called /command bot. You can configure all kinds of stuff in here, like the icon, the name, the intents of the bot inside of your server, stuff like that. So after we have this bot page, we're actually going to go up here. We're going to press copy token. Now it's very important. This token is very secret. If someone gets your token, they're going to actually be able to run your bot and act like they're your bot. So we do not want to lose this token. So what we want to do is we actually want to add this bot to a Discord server. So how do we do that? Let's create a Discord server, and we can call it test server. Now that we have this test server here, we want to actually add the bot to the Discord. So the next question is going to be, how do we actually get the bot inside of the Discord server? Okay, to get the bot to join your server, you're going to actually go back to your bot inside of the Discord developers application site and go to the tutorial bot. You're going to go to OAuth 2 URL generator, and you're going to pick your OAuth 2 scopes here. It's really important that you pick the right things, because if you don't pick the right OAuth 2 scopes, you're not going to actually be able to create the commands, the slash commands, and you're not going to be able to do a lot of stuff with your bot that you want. So go ahead and choose application.commands and bot. And I usually just choose administrator because, you know, your bot might not need administrator privileges, but especially while you're testing, just go ahead and use the administrator perms so you don't run into any problems. So you're going to copy this link down here, paste it in your browser. You're going to say, I want him to join test server with the administrator. I am a human. Then we go over to our Discord, and as you can see, the bot has actually joined our Discord now. So this is the first step to actually get the bot in your server and get ready to actually start writing some code. Now you can see tutorial bot has been added to the server. Perfect. So you can see the bot is offline. Well, we're not actually running any code yet. So now the next step is going to be to actually create the code to actually make the bot run. So how are we going to do that? So we're going to come back to our Visual Studio Code or whatever you're using to write the code in, and we're going to go ahead and get started on actually creating the bot. So the first thing that I would do is I would create a folder called source. Inside of the source folder, all of your source code is going to live. So anything that is like part of the bot code, you're going to put in the source folder. You're going to create a new file called index.js. And this is going to be the root file that runs when your bot runs. So what does this mean? It means that everything starts here with your bot. So the second file that we're going to create here is we're going to create a .dev.env file. Now an env file is a file that holds environment variables. The reason that I'm choosing to do environment variables is because it's a very secure way of storing the secret information. If someone gets on your server, you don't want them to have access to your token or anything like that. So environment variables provide a very secure way to do that. It's also a very easy way to configure you know, the token and stuff for your server, because like I said, the token needs to be accessed a few places in your code maybe, and you might have other environment variables that you want added. Like if you have a database, you might want the database URL, the password, the username. So inside of this dev.env, we're going to do discord token equals, and I'm going to do black because I don't want to put my token here. Now we have an index file and a dev env file. This isn't going to actually do anything right now. So we're actually going to want to install a new package, and that's called, we're going to npmi.env. .env is a package that's actually going to load the .env file into your environment variables. So environment variables are a system thing. They're variables that are stored within your operating system that your operating system provides to programs that run. And so this is a very good way to load all of your configuration values into it. And then I'll show you later how we're going to actually access them. So underneath source, we're going to create a new folder called config. And inside of config, we're going to create index.js. Now this index.js file is going to actually serve as our config in our node code. So we're going to import env.env. Now that we have .env, we actually need to grab this .env file that we have and load it into the code. So how are we going to do that? We're going to .env.config. We're going to say the path. It's the process. Current working directory. So it's going to be this top root level up here. We're going to say, put a slash there. And now we actually want to point this config to the env file. So this process, that current working directory, is going to point to this top level above the source folder. So now we want to point it to .env. So we're going to do dot, and then we're going to do another string interpolation. We're going to do process.env.nodeNV .replace, and we're going to do the space with that. Now this is a lot of code here, but this is actually going to load this env file into your environment variables. And what that's going to allow us to do is that we're actually going to be able to grab the Discord token value from the environment variables right after this. And to explain kind of what's happening up here is we're saying .env, we're going to configure a .env file at this path. So the current working directory, and you can see here, we're actually grabbing an environment variable right now. So every node instance is going to have a node env value. That's going to be set to dev or prod or whatever. So if we have a .prod.env and we load it into prod, we're going to load the .prod.env. But right now, the node env is going to be dev. So we're going to load in the process current working directory /.dev.env, because that's what comes from this environment variable. So the next thing is going to be, we're going to export the config file, right? So we're going to do module.exports equals and this object. So we're going to say discord token. We're going to say process.env.discord token. And as you can see here, this discord token right here, this is what we have set in the env file, and this is what we're loading in, process.env.discord token. This is all because of the work that's done up here. So this is going to allow us to use the discord token in other places, and it also means that you don't have to hard code your discord token inside. Like I said, it's very important that you do not give people your discord token, and so if you put it in an env file, we can stop it from being committed to GitHub. So let's do that real quick. So inside of the .gitignore file, you're going to actually say, I don't want any env files inside of to be committed. So we're going to do *.env. This means that every .env file will be ignored, and when you push this up to GitHub, there's going to be no env file. No one on GitHub is going to see your secret token. It's just going to be local on your machine. So now that we finished this config, let's go ahead and actually start making the index file. So we're going to just take the constant. We want client, intents, and collection, and we're going to require that from discord.js. This is a special way of actually pulling things out of the discord.js file. If you've never heard of this, we're decomposing the values out of discord.js. So instead of doing a normal way, like you would do const discord.js equals require discord.js, we're only grabbing what we need out of it, and this helps decrease the size of our actual prod code. The next thing we need is the token. So how are we going to get the token out of there that we just configured? We're going to do discord token equals require /config. And let's double check that. Yep, discord token. So we're now going to have the discord token that we have configured inside of this .env file over here. So the next thing we're going to want to do here is we're going to create a new client. So we're going to say constant client equals new client, and we want intents to be intents.flags.guild. This creates a new discord.js client with the intent of flags.guild. Now, we actually need to configure the bot to actually use the discord token. So we're going to say client.login discord token. And I would actually probably recommend wrapping this in a function to actually execute at the start. And the reason for that is because we're probably going to have some asynchronous code we want to run in here, and we want to be able to use await. And the good way to do that in the index file is to create this kind of function that self-invokes itself. So this code right here is going to immediately run inside this function. So we're going to say client.login. Now that we have this basic code here that actually logs the client in, we actually need to add event handlers for when things happen, right? So we're going to say client.once. So this is only going to register once. Once the client is ready, we're going to run this async code. And we're going to console.log ready. Now, if all things are working well, we should see the bot start. So how are we going to get this bot to run? I would say the easiest way to get the bot to run is going to be to go to package.js or .json, sorry. And inside of the scripts property, we're going to add a new script called start. So we're going to install a new package here. It's called crossenv. npm I crossenv. Crossenv is going to allow us to set environment variables in a operating system agnostic way. So Windows has a different way to set environment variables than Linux, so on and so forth. And crossenv is going to do that for us. So inside of this start, now we can do crossenv node env equals dev. And then we're going to do node /source/index.js. And this is going to actually start, it's going to run the code inside of index.js with the environment variable dev. And remember, that's really important because that's how our config file actually gets loaded. So now that we have the start command finished, we can actually run the bot. So let's npm run start. And it logged ready. Now let's see, if we go into Discord right now, we look at Discord and you can see the tutorial bot is online. This means that it's logged in successfully and the bot is running successfully. But the bot doesn't do anything right now. It's just on. It's not listening for commands. It doesn't even know how to do anything. So we need to teach it how to actually do something. So to teach the bot to do something, we're going to do two things. We're going to create a folder called commands underneath source. This is going to house all of our commands that we want run. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new file underneath source called deploy commands.js. Now, like I said, interactions are something that Discord knows about. Normally a bot command, Discord wouldn't know about it. It's just you send the text, the bot listens for it, and it parses the text, and it says that's a command, I need to run this. But interactions, Discord actually knows about. So we have to register the interactions with Discord before we actually plan on using them and listening for them. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to call this exports.initialize command. We're going to make it a function, and this is going to be the part that actually registers our commands. So we're going to say constant commands equals an array. We're going to say command files equals, and this is where we need to pull in another dependency. It's called FS, or file system. It's natively included with Node. We don't have to install it. And a file system provides methods that actually read the file system. So we're going to say file system.read a directory sync, and we're going to pull in another dependency called path. Path is a way to actually resolve a path in an operating system agnostic way. Like I said before, not all operating systems handle paths the same way to files. So we're going to say path.resolve the directory name of the current directory that this is currently running in, and /commands. Then we're going to filter x ends with .js. What is this actually doing that we're seeing here? We're loading the command files in from the directories /commands, and we're only taking the files that end with .js. We don't want any files that don't end with JS. If there's like a config file in here or something like that, or something in another language, we don't want that. We only want the commands. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to say for const file of command files. We're going to make a loop. We're going to say the command equals require /commands /file, or $! file. We're going to add interpolation. We want this to be these ticks like this, because we want string interpolation, right? So we're going to say /commands /file. So right now there's no commands in here. We're not going to register anything. But in a second, when we create a command, this is going to dynamically load the commands out of the command folder. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to say const rest equals new rest. And this actually pulled out the wrong dependency automatically. We actually want to pull const rest equals require discord.js/rest. Now this actually is not going to compile, right? If you look in our package.json, we have no discord.js rest. So we actually need to install this. So to install, we're going to go npm I discord.js/rest discord API types. This is going to install two dependencies that we need to actually run these /commands. So now we have this deploy commands here, and we have this, and this actually was ended up autocorrecting the wrong thing. We don't want that. We want this to say new rest version 9 .set token. And this is where we're going to need the token again. So how do we register that before? Const discord token equals require config. Sorry about that. /config. Now we have the Discord token. We're going to set the token to the Discord token. Now the final part, to actually register the commands. Now we have this rest thing that's setting the token, and we need to actually communicate with Discord's API and say, hey, I have these commands I need to register. So how are we going to do that? We're going to say const routes equals require Discord API types. Now we're going to say rest.put routes.application guild commands. We need to provide the client ID and the guild ID. So we're going to say client ID, guild ID. And we're going to say the body of the put request is commands. We're going to say .then. So after these commands have been put, we're going to console.log successfully registered commands, or we're going to catch the error and console.error. Now you can see here we're actually missing something. So we're actually missing something here, the client ID and the guild ID. So this bot that I'm going to make a scaffold for is only going to run in one server. If you wanted to run in many servers, that's fine. And actually, now that we have this rest here, we're going to actually need to give Discord the commands, right? So I said before that Discord actually knows about these commands, and they're going to register in a second. You're going to see them when we type /. So how do we register this with them? And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. So we're going to say await rest.put routes.application commands. client ID. And the body of this put request is going to be the command. And we need to actually make this an async function. Otherwise, we cannot use this await here. So where does this client ID come from? This is another thing that we need to actually configure inside of the env variable. So we're going to say client ID equals. And remember before, and I'll show you guys again, we're going to come back to here. We're going to get OAuth2, and we're going to press copy on client ID. We're going to paste this in here. And you can see my Discord token here. It doesn't matter. I'm going to delete this bot after this video anyways. So no harm. So once we have this env variable register, we need to actually go into the config folder and we need to say client ID equals or colon process.env.client ID. And now we have the client ID registered. So we're going to come back to this deploy commands and we're going to say client ID. So something that I forgot to actually say earlier is that we need to actually in this for loop right here, we need to actually commands.push command. And this is going to add the command into the commands array that we have up here. And as you can see here, this should run. So let's try to run our code again and see what happens. We're going to npm run start. You can see it's ready. So now that we've provided a way to actually initialize commands with Discord, we need to actually register this in the index.js file. So we're going to say const initialize commands equals require deploy commands. And inside of this code up here, we're going to say await initialize commands. So before the code even runs to actually register the bot, let's initialize the commands with Discord. So now we have everything we need basically to actually start registering commands. So inside of this commands.js folder, we're going to actually create a new command. So let's say this one's going to be ping.js. So the way that I would recommend that you format these commands is that we're going to say it's a module that exports an object. We're going to have a data property that has the data for the command that we're registering. So we're going to say new /command builder. And that's going to pull in this dependency up here. So make sure you have imported this /command builder from discord.js/builders. We're going to say .set name ping. We're going to set the description as a command.pong. Fix the indentation here. We're going to say async execute interaction. And this is the basic scaffold for the command that we're going to have. And this is the basic scaffold for the commands we're going to have. This is how we're actually going to register commands, and this is how we're going to format every command file. So inside of this execute here, we're going to say interaction.reply pong. Now we're going to go back to this deploy commands, and we actually need to edit something now that we have this first command created in ping. We're going to go to deploy commands. We're going to go to this line 13 where it says commands.push, and we're not going to push the whole command because Discord's not going to know what to do with it. We're going to push command.data.json, or sorry, .to.json. Fix that real quick. And so now we have this ping command that has an execute property, and it's going to register it with Discord. So if we run this, we might be able to see the error that we'll get. Okay, you can see npm run start. So it appears like we're missing the Discord API types. So we're going to try to install that again. So now we're going to npm run start again. So after looking at this, I realized that there's actually a typo inside of this Discord, instead of importing routes inside of the deploy commands file. So after this Discord API types, we need to do /v9. So sorry about that. Now if we npm run start, our bot should actually run now. We can see the bot is active in the server. Now we can /ping, and we get a pong back. So that's how you make a Discord bot with /commands. Please feel free to let me know if you have any questions. Leave them below. You can message me on Discord. I may even make a Discord, but if you have any questions, please let me know. Leave any feedback inside of the GitHub repository, and yeah, let me know what you'd like to see in the future.